Welcome to the Manifesting Doll podcast. I'm Barbara Orban from No Diet Babe. I'm a spiritual mindset coach and weight loss expert. If you are a spiritual babe wanting to up-level your life around your body, health, wellness, spirituality, law of attraction and manifestation, then this is the podcast for you. I'm here to give you the tools, teachings, and strategies to manifest the body and life of your dreams. As spiritual babes, we know to focus on love as opposed to fear. So get ready to learn how to implement spiritual teachings to weight loss, wellness, and your daily life, coming from a place of love and abundance. This is a celebration of how we can shift our inner perception of ourselves and watch our outer selves shift. You can become the best version of yourself, and I'm here to help. So let's get started. Hey babes, welcome to today's episode of the Manifesting Doll podcast. I'm Barbara Orban from No Diet Babe. Today I'm going to be talking all about emotional eating. So I've been actually creating something new and exciting for you babes. Actually, that I'm going to be doing a live series of workshops and worksheets, journaling. This program that is actually starting on the 20th of December, Australian Eastern Standard Time. So there's actually only about 4 days to go. 4 days, 4 days to go till we start. And the thing about this is that it's going to be recorded live, so you're actually going to be there while I do the program, meaning you get access to me about your emotional eating questions. Okay, so this is really, really exciting because all of my other courses were pre-recorded, so this is your chance, right? So anyway, today I want to talk about emotional eating because that's really the center of a lot of what I talk about, if you kind of get the gist, right? What I'm trying to explain is that your emotions are tied into your eating. Pretty much everybody who wants to lose weight needs to be focusing on emotional eating. But the thing is that we get caught up in taking action around dieting. But if you're a person who's ever lost weight and gained it back, your issue is with emotional eating, okay? So stop blaming other things. It's not about your willpower, okay? Trust me. It's not about your willpower. You're not lazy. You're not just have a slow metabolism or whatever. All that stuff is pretty much just bullshit, because losing weight is about a calorie deficit, okay? And if you can't be in a calorie deficit without putting the weight back on because you need food so much, right? As in, if you go in a slight calorie deficit, it's not a big deal. And if you follow what I talk about, it's not a big deal because you're doing it in a healthier, correct way. You're not going on a fad diet, right? If you're that type of person, you should be able to lose weight quite easily. The weight loss itself isn't that hard, okay? Heaps of people lose weight all the freaking time. The problem is that you have an emotional attachment to food, which means that as soon as you go on a diet, as soon as you take this thing away that you're using to cope, that desire to have the food actually expands. So it gets bigger. And then all of this energy is building up in this thing of you avoiding this thing that helps you cope. And then it backfires, right? That's what I talk about, like with the elastic band, and you're just pulling it and it's gonna flick, it's gonna like slingshot, and it's gonna be like boom. And that's when you start binge eating out of control. And for a while there, you'll manage the weight by binge eating on healthy food, like I was talking about in a post the other day. Like I used to do this all the time. I would make a great big salad and then I'd just sit there and binge on a salad. Or I'd cut up celery sticks or carrots and then just eat those instead of dealing with the real issues around my emotions. And then like when I'd get desperate, I would just snack on protein balls like every couple of hours. I'd be like, oh, it's been a couple of hours. Now I should have a protein snack, you know? And what was really going on was that I was an emotional eater. But the annoying thing is that nobody told me. Luckily enough, like I figured it out myself, but nobody actually told me. Everybody just kept on giving me a meal plan, an exercise plan, and kind of telling me to be like tough and stick it out. Basically, that's kind of what I was told to do. And I had to discover myself that working on my mindset, working on my emotions was actually the answer, because I didn't have to buy a freaking fancy meal plan or exercise plan because I already knew that shit anyway. I mean, how hard is it to figure out a meal plan unless you're wanting to like specifically see a nutritionist, which I did also. Because you want help with your nutrition or whatever, that's fine. But being like in a calorie deficit or whatever, if you're like me and you've bought tons of meal plans already, that's not what you need to be doing, okay? Like you can get educated in that, that's all fine. But if you're an emotional eater, if you're yo-yo dieting, if you're fluctuating in weight, trust me on this one. You need to be doing the mindset work if you want it ever to work, because I spent over 10 years yo-yo dieting up and down. And it wasn't until I did this work that things just worked out. Life just became easier. Food became a non-issue. Weight became a non-issue. And like I say before as well, like it isn't really about like having to be skinny for me, although I'm quite slim now. My weight hasn't fluctuated for years now. This is the longest time in my life that I've not had to change sizes. That in itself is enough for me. Like that just, wow. And the way that I feel, like I just don't feel, life is so not complicated because I literally just eat and then I'm full and then that's it. You know what I mean? Like it's not like this whole thing about, oh, I feel like eating right now and I shouldn't eat though. And oh, I want this, but I shouldn't have it. And that kind of stuff is so emotionally draining. Oh my goodness. Now looking back, trust me. But like, yeah, the weight fluctuation thing is amazing. Like, can you imagine like having to, I'm sure you can, like having to change your clothes all the time because stuff doesn't fit you anymore? And like that stress of, is this going to fit me? Do I have to go on a crash diet because I'm going on a holiday and this doesn't fit me? Or I'm going on a date and I don't want to look bloated? Or like, oh my goodness, such headache around weight and food and everything. It's like, nope, pretty much like my weight just kind of takes care of itself and I'm free to eat what I want, basically. I mean, in saying that, like, this is how I feel like with weight stuff, right? Is I'm an intuitive eater and I notice that, for example, now during summertime, there's certain foods that I would have been eating tons of in winter, but now I'm craving more like lighter things. And I think that's how I see things now with now being an intuitive eater. I kind of feel like certain foods are heavy and certain foods are light, and not like calorie wise. I mean like the way that they feel in my body, like if that makes sense. And that's kind of a good skill that I developed as an intuitive eater, it's like certain foods feel heavy to me. And I notice that I'm craving lighter foods during summer now. Like I'm not even trying. It's just a natural thing that happens where I'm gravitating more towards salads and less like really heavy foods. And I'm noticing that usually I would like feel like piling on the rice and the potatoes and the rice noodles, which I still do if I feel like it, but it's less often. So I noticed that I didn't feel like eating all the rice noodles, but I felt like eating more salad. And it's just kind of like I'm not doing it as like, it's just more when the weather heats up, that's what I feel like doing, right? It's just trust me, like all of our bodies do this if we actually listen, because it makes sense, because in the winter months we're trying to keep warmer, so of course we're gonna like eat more food, right? And then in summer we're not wanting to heat up as much, so we're not going to be craving as much food. So that's kind of what I noticed with myself. And it's all about like this thing around certain foods feeling too rich or heavy. I think rich and heavy are really good ways to describe it. It's like I wouldn't really feel like eating a mud cake because it's so rich and heavy, you know what I mean? Whereas I might, have a little bit or feel like a taste or whatever, but I just don't really want it. And yeah, like that's the interesting thing about becoming an intuitive eater. But when you're an emotional eater, becoming an intuitive eater seems like this really, really far-fetched thing that's never going to happen. And trust me, like I know what that's like, because where I am now is nowhere near where I was like years ago. Maybe even going back 5 years ago. Let's even go back 5 years ago. Especially, longer than 5 years ago. Wow. Completely different person. I was a completely different person around food. Like, you couldn't keep me from, like, I would just binge all the time, whether it was on healthy food, whether it was unhealthy food. Because even when I was on diet, and this is the thing, right? If you're constantly snacking, but it's coming from a place of I can't get enough and I want food because I always want food, that's emotional eating too. It's like if you feel uncomfortable if you don't get to eat every few hours, that's emotional eating. Because if you're like preempting, you're preparing for getting hungry, like you want to prevent getting hungry, that's a form of emotional eating. Because why would you fear getting hungry? It's like getting hungry is a normal part of being a human. It's like you eat a meal and several hours later you get hungry. But if you're like, oh, I better have a snack so I don't get too hungry, it's like, no, you can have a snack if you want to. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that a lot of the time it's coming from the wrong place. It's coming from the wrong place, right? It's not coming from genuine hunger. It's coming from a need to stuff down the discomfort that you're feeling. So that's pretty much what emotional eating is, right? It's an avoidance of your emotions. And some of you might have been avoiding emotions from even childhood. And then so these emotions are so repressed that you physically don't feel them at all. So you don't even know they are there. Because if you've been an emotional eater your whole life, you've been repressing shit for a very, very long time. And that's okay. What you need to start doing is start identifying these emotions, right? You need to start dealing with these emotions. You need to learn how to deal with these emotions. And you also need to start including things that make you feel good that aren't just food. Because if I go back to when I was an emotional eater, I thought I was pretty happy. But when I really looked into my inner world, actually a lot of what I was doing was stressing about my weight. And a lot of what I was doing was only feeling pleasure, really feeling comfort when I was having food. And this is really an inner thing because it's all about how you're feeling, right? It's all about how you're perceiving the world and how you're living within this world. And if you are desperate to lose weight, if you feel really uncomfortable in your body right now because you're desperate, it's like I'm counting down the days until I can lose weight. It's like you're pretty much in that very place that I was. Like that place where, if you're where I was, you're pretty much in that place where you feel so uncomfortable in your body, and food is that thing that makes you feel better. So even if you go on a diet and you lose a bit of weight, food is still that thing that makes you feel better. And as soon as something goes wrong on your diet, then it's going to be really, really difficult for you to push away food and for you to keep denying yourself food or using your willpower. Willpower runs out, okay? Willpower has been shown by science to run out. So it's not about willpower. Everybody's willpower runs out. It's not about that. It's about changing the way you operate around food. It's like this, right? Imagine you've got this slim friend and you and your friend have just finished having dinner, right? You've had like a normal dinner. You guys had some vegetables, you had some rice, meat, whatever. You had a dinner. She ate like a normal portion controlled amount, whatever, I don't know, like you're like sitting there trying to stop yourself from eating whatever, and she just eats however much makes her feel full, like a normal portion. And then it comes dessert time. Oh, I'm so full now, I don't feel like eating right now. And you're like, what the fuck? How can you not eat right now? I could eat an entire horse. I could eat that entire mud cake. I'm just holding myself back. And then this little friend of yours is like, oh no, I'll just have a small slice. I really don't feel like it. And you're like, what the fuck? How can you not feel like it? I just want to dive into that mud cake, right? And then you think, right, people, this is how society views this. It's like, I can't get to that because that's just how she is, and I'm not like that. And I'm here to tell you that you create that, and I know how, right? You create that personality, you create that identity. And the way you do that is by dealing with the emotional eating and creating this new identity where you are a slim eater. I don't know what you want to call it. Like intuitive eater that is just finds it easier to manage their weight, where you don't have a weight issue, where you're just like, oh yeah, like I find it easy to manage my weight. I find it easy to be at my ideal weight, right? So that can be you. That can be you. You don't have to have this crazy allure about food. This crazy allure that you have about food is a mixture of your dieting mindset, meaning the fact that you tell yourself you shouldn't have something, which only increases the allure of it. It's crazy how I used to not get this, and now looking back, when you're learning something new and everything seems so overwhelming and complicated, but once you get through the other side and everything, and you've known the knowledge for years and years and years, you're just like, oh wow, this is so obvious now. Wow. That's where I'm at right now with knowing that the dieting mindset increases your allure for food. It's like, holy shit, dieting really increases your allure for food. It's crazy how different my life is now, just with the perception that I can eat cake whenever whenever I fucking want it. And the fact that I would never ever tell myself that I'm never ever going to eat cake. Guess what I never feel like eating now? Cake. Guess what I used to want all the fucking time? Cake. Guess what I had to try and stop myself from driving to the shops on like a weekly basis to try and devour a whole mud cake, right? Oh my God. Like, my personality is so different around food. My goodness. Okay, so here's a perfect example of behavior, right? Around increasing the allure of something. And it's so freaking hilarious how obvious this is, yet so many people don't apply it to food. So there's been this piece of plastic that was on the ground for days now. It's been on the ground for days, and my dog Bella has just ignored it for days. Like, she wouldn't even look at it twice. Just this piece of plastic, right? And it's been there for days. Like, I've not seen her even look at it or really worry about it. Now, I went to go pick up this piece of plastic to put it in the bin. I needed to pick it up and put it in the bin. Suddenly, she grabbed it real quick, and now for the last 5 minutes, she's been sitting there chewing on it and obsessing over it. Like, she's obsessed with it. Like, it was this fancy new toy, and it's really just this, like, manky piece of plastic, right? And it's like, what the fuck? Like, because I wanted to take it away, it just increased the allure for her. She's just like, oh, I want that now. And like, this is just what happens with food, you guys. This is seriously what happens with food. And guess what? You've pretty much had a lifetime of this perception that cake or chocolate or whatever it is that you want is not allowed. So pretty much you've got this idea that's been built up for years and years and years. Of course it feels so real to you. But trust me, if you start shifting the perception and then it's like it's just cake, I can have it whenever I want, it's not going to happen overnight. But eventually over time, you'll just be like, what the fuck? It's just cake. I don't even think about it. I don't even want it. I might have it every few months at a birthday. That's what it's going to become like. Because trust me, it's just the creation of this perception that comes from the dieting mentality. And the dieting mentality only makes life harder for you around food. It's the allure that you create around the dieting mindset that just makes life so much harder for you. It's not about, see, this is the thing that you're scared of. You're scared because you're in a place right now where you take your thoughts as reality and you take action on your thoughts without distancing yourself from your thoughts. Okay? So for example, if your thoughts say, oh my God, I blew it, I should just give up, you just give up. Whereas when you're in a place where you've distanced yourself from your thoughts, you're like, oh, there's these thoughts of giving up, but I know that they're just thoughts. I'm all good. I'm just going to keep on going, right? And you have that power because you've distanced yourself from your thoughts. You get to a place where you realize that you aren't your thoughts. Your thoughts aren't reality. You get to have a choice on what you believe and what you take action on. That's what you need to do, is to start viewing and start having awareness of your thoughts. It's really, 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 really important if you want to become more conscious, if you want to start manifestation, if you want to lose weight, if you want to overcome emotional eating, right? Really, really important. And that's the thing, like distancing yourself from these thoughts, right? You're going to have so much more information about your emotional eating habits. And the way that you overcome emotional eating is to really discover what's driving you to eat. Like, why? Why do you eat? Obviously, you eat to sustain your body, right? That's normal, okay? But that's a reaction to getting hungry and then feeling full and then being done. Whereas emotional hunger is about emotions and avoiding the emotions. And the other thing that happens too is that we generally, as emotional eaters, we judge our feelings very harshly. We fear them, we judge them, we make them mean something, okay? And that's what I want to help you decipher and dive into is to what the freaking hell are you doing in your head? Basically, right? Because that's what's going to help you get freedom from emotional eating. And what it really is, if I'm being honest with you, overcoming emotional eating is shifting your energy. It's honestly just like anything, right? If you're in a scarcity mindset, you're not going to manifest money. If you're in this place of discomfort and heavy energy, you're not going to lose weight and overcome emotional eating. You have got to shift the energy around who you are and what you do, right? That's how you're going to overcome emotional eating is by shifting the energy, meaning your emotions, the way you perceive yourself, getting into alignment pretty much, right? You've got to start getting into alignment more often and then practicing life from that place, right? Doing things from that place. And practicing yourself into alignment is just practicing emotions and feeling good and feeling more pleasure, which is exactly what I did to overcome emotional eating. Like, exactly what I did. Okay, so that's what you need to do as well. Like, you need to start feeling pleasure in your life. You need to start diving into what are the reasons why you're eating, what are the situations going on in your head, how do you perceive your life right now, how do you perceive food right now. All of these things, these are the things that you're going to have to do in order to overcome emotional eating. And from a law of attraction perspective, right, it's about what we're focusing on. So, what are you focusing on? What are you focusing on with emotional eating? Where is the energy that you're coming from when you're trying to stop yourself from having a craving? When you're in the moment where you're wanting to lose weight, but you just want to eat and you can't stop yourself eating, or when you don't have any idea when full is. You don't understand when it's time to stop eating. These are all the different things that are what needs to happen in order for you to overcome emotional eating. But trust me, right? You're going to be able to overcome it. You're going to be able to overcome it because it's all about shifting your identity, and anyone can do that. Anyone can do that. And I just want you to know that. Okay, guys, so overcoming emotional eating. Overcoming emotional eating is about the fact that you have been conditioned to feel hunger when you feel certain emotions. That's what emotional eating is conditioned to feel hunger instead of feeling certain emotions. So what you have to do is start feeling the emotions that you've been repressing for so long. That's number one. Number two is letting go of the dieting mindset, okay? Number three, like I said, is including pleasure in your life, and not so much the action, but the feeling, right? Because you can find feeling in doing nothing, right? But you don't have to take action in order to feel a feeling, but you can also take action and not feel pleasure, right? So it isn't about action, because people, when I was trying to overcome emotional eating, this was the most frustrating thing that I wish somebody told me, was that taking a bath, going for a walk, or calling a friend doesn't necessarily lead to the same response as what eating does. I mean, duh, now that I look back. I can't believe how many people give this advice about emotional eating. Oh, just take a walk. Oh, just call a friend. No, it isn't about the action that you take. It's about how you feel. Think about how you feel when you eat. It's not going to give you the same response to just go for a fucking walk now, is it? Like, especially when you're depressed, you're like, everything's depressing when you're depressed, except for food, right? So, guys, it's the feeling. It's not the action that you take. It's the feeling. The feeling. Anyway, I'm like in a crazy mood now. I'm like, feeling. I tell you why, because I'm excited. I'm super excited because I've just launched my new emotional eating program called Emerge. Emerge from the emotional eating. Shed yourself of this thing that you're struggling with and become the real you, because that's what it's really about. Is I feel like I'm just the real me. I'm not suppressing shit anymore, right? Life is easier. So I want this for you too, which is why starting on the 20th of December, Australian Eastern Standard Time. So like I was saying before, it's like about 4 days away till we start. 4 days from now, where I'm going to be holding 3 days of live training workshops. Now, what's the most important part of this is an implementation course. What does that mean? It means that I spend a whole bunch of time educating you guys on this podcast, right? And a lot of my courses include even more in depth. Like the Academy is so fucking in depth around letting go of the dieting mindset, becoming an intuitive eater, and overcoming emotional eating. Like, that's a fucking great course. It's very, very good, very comprehensive, nicely bundles up what I've learned. But Emerge is different, because Emerge is very much about journaling and implementation, right? Because for me, one of the biggest things that helped me was that journaling and that implementation of creating this new identity and letting go of the emotional eating. So this is going to be powerful, because this is your chance to have access to me in that kind of setting where you can ask me questions, okay? And like I was saying, it's the power of a group doing these certain practices together. And like always, it's the mixture of manifestation, it's law of attraction, it's the psychology of emotional eating, all tied in together. We're going to go through and identify the core reasons you eat emotionally. We're going to break down where you create this heavy energy. Where is this heavy energy coming from? We're going to access your identity blueprint. Then on day 2, we're going to be shifting all your limiting beliefs. We're going to be shattering the ego. So we ask certain questions to shatter the ego. We set new stories and new intentions. And then on day 3, we're really harnessing the power of manifestation. We're implementing manifestation because we're focusing on creating the new you, okay? We're going to be focusing so much on creating the new you that is free from emotional eating, okay? This is a powerful energy that we're going to create in this little thing of Emerge, because it's that energy of creating the new. And what a even better time to do it than leading up to Christmas when there's so much energy around, okay? So then you get a chance to ask me some questions as well. So it's amazing, okay, you guys? This also, like, seriously, the price, oh my God, it's crazy. I'm actually pricing it at 111, right? Which is the least of all my courses, because it's actually a special introductory price for you that's only going to be available for this one time, okay? So what's actually happening is that the course starts in 3 days, pretty much spot on 3 days from now. Then you'll be able to enroll right up until the 24th. So for 7 days, you'll be able to enroll. But we start live in 3 days, okay? We start live in 3 days. So if you want to join live, you need to get onto this right now, okay? Because you've only got 3 days. And I know you guys are super, super busy leading up to Christmas. So if you can't attend live or you're just too busy right now, get it while the introductory price. Like, I don't even know when I'm going to offer this course again. The doors are going to close, and it's definitely not going to be offered at this price. This is just like a special promotional price, and I'm just like, oh my God, it's Christmas. Let's just give something, you know? And it's only fucking 111. Like, and because it's Christmas time, I've included a super, super like doable payment plan, which is $44 for each week for 3 installments. So crazy not to do this, you guys. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Okay. It's going to help you so much. It's going to help you identify what's going on with you, why you're emotionally eating, and implementation, right? Implementation, journaling, doing the work together, I find, is so much easier. Because when you do a course on your own, right? You do a course on your own and you're like, oh, I won't do those worksheets. I can't be bothered. No, the worksheets are super important, right? And I love programs that guide you through the process of the implementation of the worksheets. So don't stress if you can't attend live. It's still going to be the same thing, in the sense that you'll have your worksheet and you'll get to listen back to the program which guides you through the worksheet. Yeah, that's the whole point of this course, is that I needed something that helped you guide through the process, because I love that kind of thing, okay? I love that. I just find it so helpful for me for things like that, okay? So let's do this, right? Let's recondition you. We want you to emerge as a person that is no longer an emotional eater. This course is going to get you to do that, okay? You've got to just do the course, implement it. Don't stress if you can't do it this year. You get access on my platform, nodietbabe.com. In the No Diet Babe portal, you can register and access that. It's because it hasn't been recorded yet, it's not up there, but once it's been recorded, it'll be up there and you can access it at any time, okay? So you're better off just signing up and then doing it next year if you're not available right now, okay? So doors officially close in 7 days. We officially start in 3 days. It's Emerge. It's the emotional eating program that's going to get you to implement the things that you need to implement to overcome emotional eating, okay? The link is in the show notes. You can also access it on Instagram in the bio. And let me know if you have any questions, you guys. But I can't wait. I can't wait for this, because we're going to be going through so many shifts in this, right? Shifting that heavy energy, shifting the stories, creating the new, and emerging. Imagine 2019 and you're a totally different person, and you just you just get it, right? You're just like, yep, I totally get this right now. I totally get this. And then everyone else starts asking you how you do it, right? That's how it feels. That's how it feels because you get it. It's like, oh yeah, I get it now. It's a manifestation of this new way of thinking that I have, right? That's where you're going to get to with Emerge. So, guys, 3 more days. Do not miss out. The link is in the show notes. Email Barbara Orban at nodietbabe.com if you have any questions. Okay, guys, I look forward to seeing you guys in the next episode. Love you guys. Bye. Thank you so much for tuning in today. If you loved this episode, I'd love for you to leave me an iTunes review. Don't forget to follow this podcast for more uplifting teachings to come. For more tips, inspiration, and teachings, come follow me on Instagram at nodietbabe or check out my website, nodietbabe.com. Until I see you next time, babes, lots of love.